Hello, good morning. I guess it's evening, sorry. We're going to be looking at 1.5. That's what we're going to be looking at today. The first 1.5 is on formulas, and the first problem here is giving you the formula F equals 9/5 C plus 32, and they've asked you to convert the temperature 37 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. And so all I have to do is replace C with 37 in the formula. So this would become F equals 9/5 times C plus 32. And then we're going to put in here 37. And when you do the arithmetic, and you're free to do that on a calculator if you like, so 9/5 times 37 plus 32, and my calculator wants to give it to me as a fraction. And but like if someone told you that's the temperature outside in Fahrenheit, you'd be like, what? And so I'm going to turn that into a decimal. So 98.6 is what that is. So this is 98.6, and so this is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And then here, they've this is problem 4. They've given me this, use the formula 2x plus 3y equals 6, and find y when x is -3. So we're going to use this equation here. I have to take off that bracelet, at least put it on the other hand. 2x plus 3y equals 6. And right here where we have x, we're going to put parentheses, because we're going to replace x with -3. So this becomes -6 plus 3y equals 6. They've asked us to solve for y, so I'm going to leave y all by itself. So I'm going to have to get y on one side. There's no like terms to combine or distributive property. I already did the multiplication. And the number on the other. So I'm thinking about adding 6 to both sides. So just solving for y normally. So I get 3y equals 12. 6 plus 6 is 12. And then dividing by 3. And now we'll know what y is. Y is equal to 4. Then the other thing that they ask you to do is solve a formula for a variable. So this was all replace into the formula, and so these formulas this one had 2 variables, this one had 2 variables. There's some, if you start looking, that have 3 variables, and what they're doing is they're giving you all but one variable and having you find that variable. So they had 2 variables. They gave us x, asked us to find y. Here they gave us c and asked us to find f. It would have been more difficult if they had given us f and asked us to find c, anyway. But here they're asking us to do something different. They're asking us to solve it not knowing what the value of the other variable is. So the solving strategy is the same though. You use the distributive property, and it's optional if you want to clear fractions. I'm going to put this on here. I want you guys to see my grand dog. And so, isn't she adorable? And so, we'll get back to math. Anyway, she's going home now.
I'm going to get her out of here before bloodshed.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so it's optional to clear fractions, clear decimals. Second step is to combine like terms on the left side and the right side. Then you use addition and subtraction with your goal to get the variable term of interest on one side and all the other numbers and variables on the other. So you want to get alone on one side what you're trying to solve for, and then you use multiplication and division with your goal to isolate the variable. So here I'm supposed to solve for y. So I want to leave y on one side. So there is no distributive properties. You have no parentheses. There are no fractions or decimals. So step one's done. Step two is combine like terms on the left side and also on the right side. So when I look on the left, well, those are not like terms. So there's nothing to add. And over there's only one term. So we're on the step where we want to get the variable of interest on one side and everything else on the other. And they told us we're interested in y. And so I want to have this right here. If I look at this, this is not y. This is y. And that's not y. And what I want to get is the not y's on one side and the y's on the other is what I want to do. So I'm going to call, since the only y on this side, I'm going to write this again so that you can see. I'm going to call this side the left side. I'm going to call it the y side. And over here, I'm going to have the not y side. So only one person is not in the correct spot. Only one of those terms is not in the correct spot, and it's the 4x. So I want to move it to the other side. And so how you move it to the other side is you use addition or subtraction. And because it's a plus on this side, you want to subtract it, the inverse operation. You want to undo the add. Now, I'm not going to light up minus 4x with the 20, and it's my choice of whether I put the minus 4x before the 20 or after the 20. I don't put it both places, but it's my choice which one I do. So it's going to look like 5y equals negative 4x, and then you need an operation sign plus 20, because 20 is positive. Or if you wrote it on the other side, it'd look like 5y equals 20 minus 4x. It's all good. Whichever one you did is perfect. So you either put the minus 4x before the 20 or after the 20. You don't line it up with the 20 because they're not like terms. You can't add 20 and the minus 4x with one another. And then the last step is to use multiplication and division with your goal to isolate the variable. So you're going to put your finger on y and divide by what you see, and you're going to be dividing by 5. This whole side by 5. Which is the same as dividing the pieces. So I'm going to divide the pieces by 5. So divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. So we get y equals negative 4 x over 5 plus 4. Reduce it if you got it. You can also write this, and you'll see this in the back of the book, y equals negative 4/5 with the x centered, and it's exactly the same. So this is great. This was great. Perfect. And when you divide this by 5 and all the terms by 5, this is another answer that would be good, which is 4 take away 4x over 5. And so these are actually equivalent. All three of these are equivalent to one another. They're all good. Okay, so we did a lovely job on that. And so we're going to look at problem 38. They're asking us to solve for v, and so I want to get v all by itself on one side of the equation. So the strategy is there any distributive property? No. Fractions, decimals? No. And so next step is combine like terms. So no like terms over there, no like terms over there. And so I'm on wanting to get, I'm interested in what things are in terms of v. And so this is not v, doesn't have a v on it. This is a v term, and that's not v. And I want to get the not v's together. So I see that v is only on the right side, so I'm going to call this the v side. And anything that has v is going to stay put. And over here I'm going to put the not v, is what I'm going to put. H is already over there, and H is on the correct side. And so this guy doesn't have v on it, so I want to get rid of it. And my choice is to move the furniture right now when you're trying to get the variable you're interested in on one side and everything else on the other is add and subtract. So I'm going to have to add 16t squared, And then my choice, I can put the 16, add 16t squared after the h, or you can put it before the h, your choice on that. So before I put it before, so I'll put it after this time, h plus 16t squared, that's wonderful, vt here. And then the last step is to divide by, put your finger on v and divide by what you see, right? Because I want to leave v by itself. So I'm going to be dividing by t. So dividing by t. And because I have two terms on this side, both of them by t. The whole side by t is the same as the pieces, right? And so this is h over t plus, and then I just want you to look at that. That's 16t squared over t. Well, that's 16t times t, right, over t. And you can divide out. T divided by t is 1, so it's just 16t. Equals, and then here t divided by t just leaves v. When I look in the back of the book, the only thing will be different, possibly, about my answer than what I have here is that they'll write the v first. So they'll say v equals h over t plus 16t. And maybe they write the 16t first and then plus h over t. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's all good. Okay, so but they'll typically put the variable that they were interested in solving for on the left-hand side. There are a lot of examples in your book, and so I say go and check them out. Go look at all those examples. That would be just lovely. Anyway, so there's that video. How do you turn it off? Stop.